Hey everyone, so a couple days ago I did my little non-spoiler review of the Backrooms, and since people have started watching it, it has been very crazy and many different opinions have been rising up, mostly between it being the best movie ever and it being the worst movie anyone has ever seen. Where do I stand? I think I kind of gave my opinion pretty clearly in my first review. I feel like there's a lot of things that people are kind of missing when it comes to explaining this movie and when it comes to understanding it. I guess I should reiterate that in my stance of this movie, I personally do not think that it was the most incredible movie of this year. I still think it was entertaining and it was good for what it set out to be, but I do genuinely feel like there were some elements that were missing or didn't hit exactly how I wanted them to. But in no way are my complaints like, oh, it didn't match the Roblox game, so I don't like it for that reason, or there's monsters, or there weren't the monsters I wanted, and so that kind of ruined the elements. Like, no, not like that. I'm always open to that. I already knew that it was not going to be like the games or anything. I was expecting it to be like the Came Pixels video, like the entire series of the Backrooms there. It was for the most part, but it didn't include as much details as it did in the YouTube videos as it did in the movie. For example, this one is going to be a little bit of spoilers because everybody's just doing spoilers, so I might as well just join in. The ending, I said in my first one, like, if you haven't seen Came Pixels' original series, you will probably not understand the ending, especially when Mary escapes the Backrooms through like the threshold that's always there by async. First experience, like, I will say my dad, because he was literally with me there. He did not understand where the hell that threshold came from, and he was confused, and he didn't like that. He was like, well, how did she get out? Because, and then at the end where you see the Mary like still form, he's like, oh, did she not leave or whatever? So it's very confusing if you do not know already the Came Pixels original YouTube series. I mean, you could kind of understand a little bit from the movie, like it shows like scientists being like recording this. In the first part, you see a person in the Backrooms recording it, like a researcher. You see a scientist throughout the movie. In the end especially is where a lot of complaints come in. People say it was a very bad ending or whatever. Came Pixels himself, pretty sure he said that he did not want this movie to be conclusive of any sort. It's just like a way to add on to the story, a way to extend it a little more and to have a little more insight on it. So the ending is kind of just, this whole movie is just an experience of two people who fell into the Backrooms. They don't have any involvement with it like Async does. So people saying this ending was bad because like it was fast or whatever, or it was rushed. Again, like they're not going to conclude by beating the Backrooms or doing anything or sharing this with everyone else, because this happens in the mid-series of the Backrooms. They're kind of at the mercy of the story that's already been told. Yeah, they're not going to do anything huge because that's not explored in the original series. Another complaint I hear is people talking about the monsters. People didn't like the design. Well, there's two people who didn't like the design and people who think there shouldn't even be monsters at all. I mentioned before, the original YouTube series has monsters. I appreciate these ones more. They're more unique. They're not just stickmen, and they don't explore the bacteria like they did it in the original YouTube series, which is unique. It's strange. Like, I don't know if they just scrapped the idea or if this is something new. I'm pretty sure a still form appears in the YouTube series, but the bacteria, like, we still don't have enough to go on about that, and that wasn't shown at all in the movie. It gives the Backrooms more complexity, like rather than creating its own monsters, it really meshes both worlds together, because that's what the Backrooms is. It's supposed to be a replication or an attempt to replicate the real world. So wherever these bacteria come from, like those bacteria life forms, that it was kind of just like out of nowhere. But now these ones make a lot more sense. There's a lot more that could be done with in terms of like visuals. It's definitely more unique. I feel like a lot of people do not appreciate that, especially since all the costumes and stuff were practical. None of it was CGI, which is really impressive. I did mention that in the Backrooms movie, you don't really leave the yellow wallpaper area. In the Came Pixels original YouTube series, you are like exploring like kind of like a reddish tone, like that little neighborhood there. Or when you're running, you explore like in found footage, like even in that one, like the guy, he goes into like the like hotel area where it's white. It's like an like more than an office, it's like an hotel. He comes across like this giant, massive, multiple exit sign things, if anyone remembers that. You don't really do that in the Backrooms, and it's mostly because it was an actual set, I'm pretty sure. If they would have added another hour or like even more time, because it was kind of short for what they were trying to show, and it did end up feeling a little bit rushed, especially when it came to the protagonist. We were going on a narrative with them, and I mentioned this in the first one, in my first review, that like we were going on a narrative with them and they kind of just stopped. Like it was very quick the way they were concluded. A lot of people also say that this movie was really boring. It was slow for them and whatever. There are a couple scenes where it takes its time. There's a difference between slow pace and just straight up throwing out unnecessary scenes. Like a slow scene is, for example, where there's no guns blaring, explosions, running all over the place. Like it's kind of just like, for example, Mary, where she's listening to her own commercial. That is a slow scene. If your attention span is not more than 30 seconds, you will think that part is boring. I will agree that, for example, Clark first entering the Backrooms, it did not need to last as long as it did before like the monster showed up, because he was like just taking his time very slowly, just walking through the Backrooms. Like right there, that is like an overextended scene. I don't believe it's slow. I think it's just too long. But still, like you cannot say a film is bad because there's some scenes that you just don't want to sit through because you want things to be happening like really loud and really fast. That does not make it a bad movie. So you can't say it's boring. I don't believe it was boring. Those long scenes that I mentioned that are necessary, I don't think there was that many. In the end, people's main complaint is that it's not similar to the games or to the aesthetic that they were making it out to be on TikTok, like the levels or any games online like Roblox or whatever. They didn't see all the levels they wanted or all the enemies that they wanted or whatever. I think it's a little silly to say. You should have already known the director's Kane Pixels. He had, and this is going off, he said it multiple times, going off of the original YouTube series that he created. So I don't know what you're expecting. People also say that this movie's boring because it's like an actual like narrative and it's not just a walking simulator being like, ooh, I know what that is. It's like, oh, that room, run for your life. Ooh, the party goers. Like, it's not none of that. Like, it's an actual story about like disassociation, about mental health, about like regrets in life, you know, unsatisfaction in life, especially in the modern age we live in. It tackles a lot of that, and the Backrooms is just an element to push that narrative further. I did say originally that this movie is an acquired taste, because like if you didn't already like the Backrooms, you could still find some enjoyment out of it, especially in the production value, but you have to already been sort of familiar with the concept. It's a young director, and people do not like seeing young directors or young anyone succeed, apparently. But yeah, I definitely think this movie, myself personally, I think there's a lot of things that I would have liked it to be longer, because I feel like, yeah, definitely the way they ended with the two characters, or the way they carry their little separate narratives, was kind of quick or a little shallow. Like they could have definitely like included a lot more. They don't have to be extremely complex, but I feel like there was just too much missing. And yeah, maybe it being a little longer, we could have explored a little more of the Backrooms and explained a little more of async. I personally don't think it's at 100 out of 10. I think it's maybe like a 7 to 8 out of 10. It's entertaining and I like it for sure, but it's not my most favorite movie of this year so far, or the one of all time. Like, it's just a good movie, so it's definitely not worth it's not warranting all this disrespect it has on social media, wherever it's coming from. Well, yeah, that's it. Let me know your opinion. How did you like it? What did you not like about it? What did you like about it? And I'll see you in the next one.